All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development 1100 C# programming class for the summer 2023 semester, I've been creating some introductory videos based off of the textbook for the class, which is Murachs C# 8th edition. Now, I've done the first 19 out of 22 chapters, but before I go into chapter 20, which I will do, I wanted to give you some examples. All right, where I actually went and did some stuff. Hopefully, this will help. So, I still do have XAMPP loaded. Now, what you're going to have to do in order to load XAMPP is you're going to have to go out to Apache APA CHE friends, one word, apachefriends.org. All right, and there it is. You'll want to load XAMPP for Windows. I've already got it on here, and it's for whatever reason, it's not letting me uninstall it. All right, but you should be able to go through there and just hopefully at least choose all of the defaults. All right. Hopefully, if nothing else, I didn't want to remove a folder that's there. If nothing else, I'll move that folder someplace else, remove it, and we will do this in class. Once you've gone and downloaded it, when you run it, it's going to look like this. Now, you don't need to, it doesn't really help any to make it the full screen. But what you're going to have to do, what I want you to do then, is three different things. First, we want to start up Apache, so we click on Start right there. And if this goes from yellow to green like it is, that means it's working. Then we're going to do the same thing for MySQL. And again, you notice it went right to green, which is fine. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to run a GUI product that comes with this. And when I say GUI, it's semi-GUI. And if you don't know what I mean, you will momentarily. But right to the right of where it says stop, it says admin. You don't want the top one. You want the admin that's on the same line as MySQL, and you want to click right there. And that brings up a product called PHP MyAdmin, which we're going to use just to get us started in here. All right. Now, I'm going to try something. I haven't tried this before, but it should work. All right. Heavy on the should. Now, if I go out in our class, if I go out here, and I can minimize this, but if I go out here to the C drive, you've all got this. So C:\Murach, C, for our C files, C#, student download, and I go to database. There's 3 files there. Okay, don't worry about these bottom 2, but I want you to look at the top one. I'm going to open it here. And what this is going to do, if this works, and it's not a small file, it has 1,000 lines in it plus. I'm going to run a command, and that's going to set up a database for me on the system. We'll go through this database in class. I don't want to do it right now, but I want to see if I can bring this in with one command. So there it is, and it's create_database.sql. And the way I'm going to try to do this is I'm going to go back to my PHP, MyAdmin, which is right here. And I'm going to click, it's been a while since I've done this. I want to import. So I'm going to click on import. And it says, okay, what file do you want to import? All right, and it says no file chosen, choose file. So I'm going to go right back to where I just was. And I'm going to choose this create database SQL right there. That's the file I want to import. Then down on the bottom, I'm going to click import. If this works, I should have a new database over here that says MMA Books, I think it's what it's called. If I get an error, I'll have to do it another way. It's spinning. That's always a good thing. Again, it's possible I'll get an error doing this. I don't really know. All right, so it does not like something. So one query executed. Well, 12,945 errors. All right, so it doesn't like what I'm trying to do. That isn't good. I'll tell you why I'm getting these errors too, okay? And that is that this database that I've started showing you, didn't talk about it at all yet, but this database is set up not to work with MySQL, which is what we're using right now. Instead, it is designed to work with SQL Server. All right, and I think at least that's why I'm getting these errors. I'm not positive, but I think that's why. Now it gave me tons of errors in here. Let me look in here at something. City state values. Now it could be because all these in here, you can see there's tons. All right, of single quotes, and my guess is that's probably what a lot of the problem in here is. Crud. I was hoping that we wouldn't have a problem like this, but it looks like we're going to. Yeah, you can see we get this N. So what do we have here? Line item 18, invoice ID, this N with a sign after it like that is, I am pretty sure at least, that's what's screwing everything up. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own database. I don't want to waste time with working on this one. I'll see if I can fix it for class, but for now, let's just make our own database. All right? I've already kind of was thinking about this yesterday just in case this happens, so that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and click on databases, and I want to create a new database. Okay? So I'll make a new database here. And I'm going to pretend I work for the Acme Widget Company. All right, so that's the new database I'm going to create. So I'm going to type in here for name. I'm going to put in, and I'll put it all lowercase, Acme _ widget. So that'll be my new database. Now, if this works when I click create, I should see over here then Acme Widget. I can make this bigger. There. All right, so when I click create, there's Acme Widget. Okay, so now it says, what do you want to put in there? Okay, so I'm going to put in, let's see, how do we want to do this? I'm going to put in 3 tables. All right, the first table name will be employees. And it's going to have in there, I've got to figure out how many fields. First name, last name, address, city, state, code, zip, and phone number, and department ID. So it's going to have 8 columns. Oh, it's going to have 9 columns because I need a primary key as well. So here it comes. The first one I'm going to put in here is going to be called employee ID. It's going to be an integer. All right. And I'm going to move this a little bit smaller so you can see what's in here. It won't be null, but this AI here, that's not artificial intelligence. That stands for automatically increment. So I'm going to put that in there. So I now have a primary key. All right, so now I'm going to put in first _ name. And it will be what's called a varchar. And we'll make it 50 characters. So that's how big the first name can be. We're not going to allow anything to be empty in here. So for the null, we're not going to allow nulls. All right, and then we're going to put in a last name. it will again be a varchar. And it will again be 50. And it looks pretty good. And next, address. So you're going to have a lot of varchars in here, just so you know. Varchar. Oh, we'll say 50 should be big enough. All right. City. Again, another varchar of size 50. State's going to be different. I'm going to put in here state code. That's going to be not a varchar. I think there's one in here that's just called char. Int char text numeric. Oh, I thought there was one called char. See, the difference is varchar is variable length and a char is a fixed length. I want this to be of size 2. There we go. Char. And it'll be a size 2. So for instance, in Missouri, it'll be MO. Okay? All right, so we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I said I wanted 9. Address, city, state. We'll put in here zip. I'll make this another varchar. And we'll make that 10, just in case you want to put in the dash number. So what do we have? We have our ID, first name, last name, address, city, state, zip. That's 7. We're supposed to have 2 more fields in here. All right. We will have in here these 2 fields. We'll have phone. It'll be another varchar. And I'm going to put in 15. We shouldn't need that many, but that's fine. And then the last one we're going to put in here is going to be department code. These may make no sense to you right now, and it's totally okay. That'll be an integer as well. All right. And we'll make this size 4, which should be plenty big. All right. I don't need to put any comments or anything in here. That's totally fine. So if I click Preview SQL, this is the statement that's actually going to be written for what I just did right here. So I'm showing you this because, let me get rid of that. This is actually what's running now. Now it puts it in there as one big line, but let's break it down into a bunch of lines so you can see what's going on. Create table Acme widget dot employee. All right. Then it's saying this is the first name, employee ID. It's an integer. It can't be null, and it should automatically increment. So it'll start with 1 and keep going. Then we have a first name. Then we have a last name, an address, a city, a state code, a zip code, a phone number, a department code. All right. And what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's our 9 fields. And we've set up a primary key. So this is basically what's happening in here. Now, things you don't have to even worry about. What happens is the system automatically puts these backticks in, just in case one of your names has a blank space in it. We could remove the backticks, all these backticks, and it would still work. All right. It's going into the Acme widget database. It's called employee. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fields. The first field is the employee ID. It's an integer. It can't be blank, and it should automatically increment. In addition, it's our primary key. Then we've got a first name, which can be 0 to 50 characters, but it can't be blank. Last name 0 to 50 characters, can't be blank. Address and city 0 to 50 characters, but can't be blank. A state code, which must be 2 characters. A zip code, all right, a zip code, which can be up to 10 characters. A phone number, which can be up to 15 characters. Neither of these can be null. And a department code. If these don't make sense, please just bear with me a little bit, okay? And this engine this is the engine that's used to build the database. All right, so I'm going to close this, and now to click Save. Now what should happen is, notice I've got a new table, and there's all my fields. There's no data in here yet. There is no data in here yet. There will be in just a moment. All right. Now, next I'm going to come in and I'm going to add another table. So I'm going to click again on my Acme, and if I click New, yeah, table name. All right. And this table name is going to be states, and it's going to have two fields. All right. The first field is going to be called state code. It is going to be a char. It's the same one that we saw a minute ago. It's going to be 2 characters, and it is going to be our primary key. Now, earlier when I did this, let's see. I'm looking in here. I thought there was something that we could put in to say that it was the primary key, but I don't see that. All right. We don't want to use auto increment in here. No, we don't want to do that. But we want this to be our primary key. All right. And then this will be state name. I don't know what the longest state name is, but I imagine if I make it 25 characters, that should be long enough. All right. So let's see. Again, let's preview the SQL. And you'll notice now that when we're making this, all right, when we did the other one, it looked like this. All right, I'm going to put this one right underneath it. It's going to look like this. That's okay. So now we're creating a states table, which has got a state code and a state name. All right, neither of which can be empty, but we don't have anything in there that says primary key. I've got to remember how we manually add a primary key in here. So what we want to add is something that looks like this. All right, so I want it to look, for lack of better words, like this. All right, and I want this to come down here. And the primary key, I want it to say state code. Like that. Why? Because I want there to be a unique record identifier in here. All right. So let's see if I can figure out how to manually make that happen. Table comments, storage, preview SQL, and save. Type attributes, null, index, comments. Should I move comment? Browser display. When in doubt, ask Google. Click on indexes, then ask to create the index on one column and choose primary. All right, then let's try that. So right here, state code, index, primary. There we go. All right, so that will be our primary key. So that should have added it. Now let's go back and look at previewing our SQL again. Now we do have the primary key state code. That's what we wanted. All right, in fact, let me grab all of this because I want you to be able to see. Oopsie, that isn't good. I want you to be able to see here every time we're creating a table exactly what's happening. All right. All right, let me get rid of this one and put it back because now it's correct. So create the states table, which has in its state code, has in its state name, and it has our primary key designation. Whoops, primary key designation as well. All right, we're going to make one more table and then we'll start to add some data. So we have an employee table. We've got a states table. All right, and let's add one more table in here. All right, so let me click save and I should now see employee and states in there. All right, I want to make one more table. It's going to have, again, 2 different fields in it, and it's going to be called departments. It will have 2 fields. All right, the first one will be called department. What did we call that before? I think we called it department code, department number. I'm not sure what we call that. So let's do this. Let's click on employee again. It says, do you want to save your changes? I'm just going to cancel out. I'll come right back to it. It's okay to leave the page. All right. So employee has what in there? It has a department code. That's all I needed to know. All right. So this will be departments. I'll just make it departments. 2 fields. The first one will be the department code, and it will be an int, and it will be a primary key, okay, and we will automatically increment it. The second one will be the department name. It will be a varchar. And all varchar means is variable length character field. So, and we'll put 50 in here. All right, now I'm going to again preview my SQL. Whoops, good golly, Jeffrey. Yeah, I don't want to go there. There we go. I'm going to grab that again. Just because this way, if you want to, you'll be able to look at all 3 of the tables that we're creating. So this is the department code, the department name, and again, the primary key will be the department code. Now there's a difference. This one, the primary key was of type character. This time it's of type integer. If you say what's the difference, you're going to see right now. All right, and I'm going to click save. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding data. And it doesn't matter which one I add data to first. It doesn't matter at all. All right, I could come back here if I wanted to change this stuff. Now I don't. Okay, so let's see. There's different ways that I can come in here and I can add data. There are different ways of doing this. All right, notice there's an insert. So I could come in and just start putting the information in here like this. It would work just fine. All right, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-write some stuff. I'm going to leave this here. Let me move these over. All right. So this right here, what you see is what's called schema, S-C-H-E-M-A. So this is my employee table schema. I think when you want to put a comment in here, I believe you put in 3 dashes. It could be 2, I don't know. So that's my employee schema. Next, I'm going to make, oopsie, Z. Next, I'm going to come in here and make the, come on. Next, I want to come in here and make the state table schema. And finally, I'm going to come here and I'm going to make the departments table schema. And that's states. Okay, so that's the schema. That's the way that the tables are going to look. So I'm going to put in also my data, but I'm going to do the employees last because it's the hardest. So this will be in a couple minutes. Let's just put a delimiter in here, so I'll put in these. All right, so that'll be my employee table data. All right, I'm going to put in the stuff for all three of these. So I've got my employee, I've got my states, and I've got my departments. All right, so my departments, they're automatically going to be numbered, but just to be sure, I'll put a number in for each one of them. So department 1, all right, is going to be basically the data that's going to go in there is, let's say we've got 5 departments. I'm making this up. I'm making all of this up as we're going right here. All right, so I'm going to say that I have shipping, I have receiving, I have accounting, I have programming, I have payroll. They don't have to be in any kind of order. I have web design, and I have human resources. That should be about 7 or so. That's plenty. Human resources. All right. Now, as we've done in other classes, if you've had other classes with me, I can go in, just so you see this, and I can put in MySQL insert into table statements, but I can check in W3 schools. It's been a while since I've done this. So we're going to look in W3 schools, and there's an insert, which is what I want. Come on. And they're showing inserting date, inserting a bunch of stuff. I don't know what this is. Boy, this looks different than it used to, but it's MySQL W3 schools. Okay, I don't want that. There we go, W3 schools insert. That's the old familiar one. So I'm going to insert, I'm going to do it like this. All right, I should be able to do it like this. We're going to find out. All right, now remember, I have added into the departments table, I have added into that the fact that we had a department code and it was auto increment. So we shouldn't, and that's been designated as a primary key. So we should be able to just come in there and do this. Insert into departments. And the only thing we should have to worry about in here is the department name. All right. And then we're going to say values. And then we're going to put in each one of these names. All right. And I don't know if this is going to work or not, but you're going to know when I know. We don't put a comma after the last one. We have to close this. So that's it. If this worked, but we'll see. I can optionally put a semicolon at the end. Let's see if this worked. Okay. So I'm going to come back to here and to here. All right. I'm going to go to SQL because I'm putting in SQL statements now. And I'm going to put this in. Insert into departments. There's my departments table. Department name. That's the only name I have to manually put in. And these are the values. All right. When I want to run it to see if it works, I click the button that says Go. And it says column count doesn't match row count at row 1. All right, but I still shouldn't have to do this. Let's double check. Here's departments, department code, and department name. All right, if I look at the structure, which we created before, it's a primary key, it's an integer, and it's an auto increment. So I should not have to add that. Now, software can be funky, so let's go in there and try doing this. I'm going to add this, so I'm going to put in here department code, and I should be able to make all this lowercase, except I like to leave my keywords in here, like insert, into, and values. I like to put all them as uppercase. All right, so we had in here department code, not co, and department name. All right, I have to put something here, but I'm going to try putting in the word null and see if it takes that. All right, so I'm going to try doing it like this. No idea if this will work or not. All right, so let's see first. Let's go back and double check because it may be that I just put it in wrong to begin with from what we looked at on here. Values. Okay, I think what the problem may be is that each one of these may need to be, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to do one more check in here. Server, insert data in specified columns. I want to insert multiple records. See if it has that. So let me look. W3 schools. MySQL. Insert data. Insert multiple rows of data. Let's see if it has that. Insert multiple records. Now this is different. This is a different programming language, so this is PHP, so I probably don't want that anyway. And I'm already at 34 minutes, so I'll go for about 10 or 15 more minutes, and then we'll stop and I'll continue on. Okay, it does want each one in their own set of parentheses. I did not know that. Actually, I knew it, but I forgot it. So I'm going to get rid of the department code, and I'm going to get rid of the word null in front of all these. It's going to screw things up, so manually remove them. I won't put this at the bottom. Let me move these over. Okay, and I won't need this. But I will need to put every one of these, it looks like, into their own set of parentheses like that. All right, we're going to see if that works. No excuse, but if you don't teach something for a year, you kind of forget some of it. So, all right, let's see if that works. Again, I may very well get another error here. We'll see. Or it might work. So go to SQL. I'm going to remove what was there, put this in, and click the Go button. Well, hot dog, it worked. How do I know it worked? First of all, it says that they were all inserted. Now I can go back and I can actually tell it to show me those records. All right, how do I do that? So if I say select star from departments, I don't need the where one, but I could put it in there. If I run this statement and I click go, there are my 7 departments: shipping, receiving, accounting, programming, payroll, web design, and human resources. There's the codes, and there is the department name. All right, now the next thing is going to be a pain in the tocus. Let's see. I want all 50 states and their abbreviations. Not from there, I don't. State abbreviations, 50 states. So this is what I want. All right. Oh, this is going to be a pain because I want, can I just do this? No, of course not. That would be way too simple, right?
No man's land?
Let's copy that. So you already saw me put this in. So that was my department table data, and that worked. Now I'm going to put, whoops. Now I'm going to go in and grab this. This is going to take a little bit. And I'm going to paste this in. All right, there's a bunch of garbage in here, of course, that I don't need, but we'll fix all of it in just a couple minutes. This will probably take 5 minutes or so to fix up. Now I could just go down and not do anything. I could, stop the tape or whatever, but I'm going to let you see what I'm doing. Now remember, in here, when we set up the states table, all right, normally when you set this up, the first field that you put in there is your primary key. You don't have to do it that way, but that's usually the way it is. So in states right now, all right, if I select star from states, there's nothing in it, but I've got a state code first, then a state name. All right, why does that matter? It means I got to flip all these. All right, so this is, I don't know why they did that, but that's Alabama. And I'm going to have to take all these. I wonder if I can do this, how I can do this the fastest way. All right. That doesn't look like there's 50 in there, is there? 80. Guess there are. So I want like this. I want AL, comma, Alabama. And every one of these is going to be like this, and they will all also have to be inside of parentheses. Like that. So I'm going to have to do this for all 50. I think what I will do is I will pause the tape right now, do this myself. It's 9:15 a.m. and we'll see if I can do this in 10 or 15 minutes. So let me pause the tape so you don't have to watch me do this. All right, it did take about 10 minutes, and there's probably faster ways than the way I did it, but I think I've got it done, and I don't think I have any errors in it, so we're going to find out in a moment. I don't want a comma after the last one, but I do want to put in this up here. So I'm going to say insert into states, and I need the 2 fields. So the 2 fields again were state code and state name. So state code and state name. And because of the fact that the code is alphabetic, I have to put each one of those in there. All right, there should be 50 in here. I should have put in all 50 states. We're going to find out right now if I made any typing errors or not. All right, so I'm going to go back into SQL here and put that in. Now, it looks like it doesn't like something that's in here. Ending quote was expected. Let's take a look up here. Now, notice there's one missing there. All right, once I did that, these all turned red again. And it looks as though my error message is gone. So I'm going to click Go. And 49 rows inserted. I missed a state. Well, that's on me. All right, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it in there with 49 states. So let's come in here and let's do a select star from states. Again, this where one is unnecessary. So we'll just put a Go in there, and there's our states. Our code followed by the state name. And like I said, I'm missing one. There's 25. If I click this, it'll show me the next 25 or 24 or whatever. All right, so that's good. That's done. So right now, what I have done before your very eyes is I created the schema for 3 different tables. And then I've added data into 2 of the tables. All right, but I've got to add data into the employee table. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here and grab this. Okay, and right up here, I'm just going to paste that in. I'll get rid of it in a moment. But I'm going to say this. Now I can say insert into employees. Did I call it employees or employee? Hopefully I called it employees. I called it employee. You just have to be consistent. In fact, many of these things say that your table names should be singular and not pluralized. Let's see if I can go back in there and rename those. So can I go back in here with departments? I'm sure there's a rename feature in here someplace. Operation. Rename the table to department. All right, and I'll tell it to somewhere in there's got to be a Go. Can't copy table to same one. I don't want to copy it. I want to just change the name. So let me click that Go right there. And it now is called department. Let's go to states. And again, I'm going to click on this more and operations. And I'm going to change the name to state. And click Go. And now that is state. All right, that's all been fixed. Let me fix it in my own stuff, my copy here. So that is employee. That is now state. That is now department. All right, so insert into state. And this one is insert into department. All right, so those have all been fixed. All right, let's do my employees now. So insert into employees, and I've got to have, I don't have the employee ID in here, so this will be first name, whoops, into employee, first name, last name, address. I can put this over multiple lines, it's fine. City, state, code, zip, phone, and finally department code. All right, and then I'm going to say values. All right, and I'm going to make up 10 names right now and addresses. I can probably get those from online, but I'm not going to do that. So we don't need this any longer. Okay, So the values are going to be these. So the first one, we'll use a bunch of people from Rankin that I know. I'll start with me. And I'll put in my Rankin address. Wentzville, first name, last name, address, city, state code will be there. Oops. Zip, phone, that actually is my phone number, but I'm not in the office very often. So, and the department code, we will use web design, so that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6. And we'll see if that works. Okay. All right. Like I said, I'm going to put in about 10 people. All right. I've made it about 15. So we're going to change these. I'm going to make up some. So this will be Barney, Rubble, and it'll be 1, 2, 3 Main Street. And we'll leave him in Wentzville. And we will give him a different number. Yeah, I'm making all this up. And Barney works. We're just going to start putting some different numbers in here. That'll be a 1 for Barney. Barney's wife, Betty, works there. I'm just going to copy everything from this. All right, we'll give her a different phone number, and we'll have her work for a different department. All right. Again, this is all just being made up. So Wilma, I think. So what do we have now? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 employees right now. We'll make 3 more. 8, 9, 10. That should be enough. All right. So I'll put in names of my kids. This is not her married name, but we'll leave that in there anyway. And I'm going to give them a different address. So I don't know what the zip is for O'Fallon, so if I'm wrong, sorry. And I think my wife would be upset if I left her out, so I'll put her in last here. Okay, so you got Taylor, I've got Mackenzie, this is not where they live. I have no idea what their addresses are, but I'm just putting that in there. Well, that's not too big, so. And I don't know for what else is around here. There is St. Peter's, and we'll have this one be St. Charles. All right, and that'll be my wife, so there. That was Ames Way. So let's put Pine Street. All right, we'll make that a 0. All right, so I've got about 12 people, and we'll see if I made any mistakes in there. Knowing me, I very well could have, but we'll look. I don't want from state anymore. You can already see it's showing me that I've got some places where I've left off, it looks like. Double quotes. And it looks like I'm fixing them, so let's see. Got the comma there. All right, well, we'll see if I have any mistakes in just a moment. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put it back here, so it actually, hopefully at least, is correct. So let's click the Go button, and that worked. So now if I do a select star, from employee, I should have my employees. Clicking Go. All right, so there's my employees. All right, that's all in there. So I have now gone in, I have created the database schema for something new, a new database. So I created the database in here called Acme Widget. Then I went in and created 3 tables. I made an employee table, and I first created the schema for it, which had the names in there, was the structure. It had the names of my fields, the type they were, whether or not they accepted null for the primary key and auto increment. I think it automatically made that a primary key. All right, then I did the same thing. It did, there's the key, for state. So if I go to state, or try to, all right, and go to structure, I've got the same thing. And finally for department. So again, if I go to department and I go to structure, same thing. All right, so that's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in just a couple minutes and I'm going to show you how you can write some stuff to query this database. How many am I going to create? More than one, less than 50. All right, so I'll be back with that shortly.